Next item on our agenda is PMG report.
Thank you, Jerry. So it's been 3 weeks since our last meeting, and we've held actually a number of other meetings that I'll detail throughout this report. But we've made quite a bit of progress as well. We focused a lot on our permitting applications and going to local boards. In terms of the inland wetlands, the last time we met, we talked about, we had just made our initial application on February 5th. Since that time, we had a site walk on March 2nd, and that went very well. It was intended by only 4 of the committee members, but we then followed up with our meeting with the inland wetlands on the following Tuesday, I think it was March 5th. And we've separated our project into 2 applications. The first application is for the main building and the ball fields, and that application was continued from the March 5th meeting to the April 4th, or the first week in April. We've got our next meeting. And then the next piece, we've already scheduled a public hearing, and that's on the 19th, and that's for our crossing. And we'll get some information on that, our actual vehicular crossing, if you will, with the culvert, and then also some information on our pedestrian bridge. Still at this time, for the pedestrian bridge in terms of cost, we're going to consider that to be an ad alternate, and we'll fully design it, and we'll obtain bids on that work. But that's kind of like a buffer for us, so that if we're tight on our budget, that may be something that gets deferred until later on, because we could do that at a future time. So those types of pieces, which are fairly large cost items, we want to keep control of the go, no-go decision as long as we can. And so that ad alternate will let us do that. But we will design it, we'll get it permitted and ready to go. So even if it doesn't fit into our budget, perhaps a subsequent town budget, they can do that if we found it was very important. So that's where we are on inland wetlands. The next was ZBA. We had a pretty rough outing with ZBA the first time around on February 20th, quite honestly. Just to bring everybody up to speed, I mean, it was cordial, but we just need to present some more information to allow them to be able to make their decision. ZBA, as you know, our application is just for site coverage, for impervious coverage. The zone that we're in, R20, allows 15% coverage. We went in at around 25% of the meeting, and they have asked us, they've come back and said, look, we want you to do better. And so in response to that, we said, okay, how can we do that? What can we do to make this more palatable from the impervious area coverage and also from the site layout? So the major changes that came out of that meeting, and I think it was to the betterment of the project, is we revisited the idea to move the tennis courts to the north side of the building. And that was really the driver. I know that they were there early on in the project, they got moved south. But as you know, we need to dilute the nitrates from our wastewater. And in order to do that, we need to collect stormwater runoff. And the tennis courts are a large impervious area. So moving them to the north allows us to collect that stormwater runoff. So it does a lot of good things for us. It helps us with ZBA, helps us with our wetlands. That did some other things too. It allowed us to move our southerly parking lot further away from the road. So it gave us more of a green buffer, and that was something that Brooks really pushed for as well. So we've made some advances with ZBA. We go back for our next public hearing next Wednesday on the 20th with updated plans. So that's why we wanted to get them in front of this group, so that you could have a chance to say, you know, something, did you think about this, or did you look at things differently? We try to really be very thoughtful in the movements and the changes that we made. We try not to do that without really thinking through different efforts. So that's ZBA. Go back. We're hopeful that we'll obtain approval. With our changes, we actually, I believe, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're just under 20% coverage now.
Right, we're under 20.
Which is quite an improvement. You know, 15 is the actual zone, but it gets us much closer. So I'm hopeful that they'll see, you know, that we've been responsive to their requests on the ZBA.
We want the impervious material, we're going to do parking lot, or will we get to that at a later?
Yeah, certainly that's a discussion item. Let's because we're going to, Chris is going to walk through exactly how we laid out, number of parking spaces, all those things. Let's touch on that during that, yeah, if that's okay.
I think we should start with the site design. we have two drawings. One is the civil engineering drawing that has a lot of details about what will be on the site. Another that was prepared by Rainey's landscape architect that depicts the aspects of the site in terms of the landscape character of the site. This is
Did I miss something? What's the blue?
the blue. Oh, the blue is a retention basin.
And that's part of the septic design, is to bring the stormwater downstream of it to essentially flush the effluent. So I think, Richard, you covered just about everything. The plan is not all that different in terms of circulation. And we had a circulation meeting this morning with Jack to talk about buses in the back here, dropping off and coming around this way, and parents would drop off in the front. So there's plenty of stacking out in front. The drop-offs don't occur at the same locations. The biggest change that you've seen, other than the tennis courts, is in order to fit the tennis courts, we've reduced the student parking number by about 50 spaces and shifted it to the south. And there's some advantages with that. This is really our division line of how much water we can bring to this infiltration basin based on gravity. So anything beyond this line could be pervious, gravel. I know there was a question about materials. So that helps us in terms of coverage.